हेलो एंड वेलकम गाइस। आज आप लोगों के लिए मेरे पास एक बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट हैं और जो गेस्ट आज मेरे साथ हैं वो ऑल द वे नॉटिंघम इंग्लैंड से उनका ताल्लुक़ है। बॉक्सिंग के वो कोच हैं और ब्रिटिश हैं, अंग्रेज़ हैं, लेकिन उनकी चाहत, मोहब्बत और डेडिकेशन हमारे पाकिस्तानी बच्चों के लिए बेइंतहा है, जिसने उनको लाहौर में ला खड़ा किया है और अब वो पाकिस्तान में आके पाकिस्तानी बच्चों को कोच कर रहे हैं, सिखा रहे हैं और उनको प्रोफेसर पंच भी कहा जाता है। टिमोथी बेट्स उनका नाम है और आज वो हमारे साथ हैं। उनसे बात करते हैं और देखते हैं कि वो इंग्लैंड से उनका ताल्लुक, बॉक्सिंग वो वहाँ करते, लेकिन पाकिस्तान कैसे आ गए और अब पाकिस्तान के बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं, वो भी अंडर प्रिविलेज बच्चों को। बहुत बड़ी बात है। एंड टिम से चलें बात करते हैं। हेलो टिम, हाउ आर यू?
Assalamu alaikum. Hello there, Umer. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, I am wonderful. Thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. So, Mr. Professor Punch, what brings you to Pakistan and why you want to do this for the Pakistani kids?
So, I came here for the first time in 2016, and this was for my friend, my very good friend Kamran's wedding. And during that time, I decided that I wanted to return. Actually, I saw just a very small part of Lahore, a very small part of Pakistan, for a small number of days, and it wasn't enough for me. You know, I wanted to come back and to actually explore the very rich culture and experience Lahori life, so to speak. So for a number of years now, back in England, I've been working with young people in schools, in other educational institutes, youth centres, and my own boxing classes. I love to see young people doing well. I love to see all people doing well, to be honest. I think that there is a huge benefit, in particular from boxing and from martial arts and sport in general. But also, you know, I think that sometimes people may forget that it is our responsibility as the older generations to work with and help better the younger generations. So I saw on the internet that this gym was here in Lahore, and I got in contact with the man who started it, a man called Bashir Ahmed, and since then, I've been going down and 3 or 4 times a week, teaching boxing to these young people, and generally just, you know, having a laugh and trying to help enrich their lives.
Yes, Bashir Ahmed, the pioneer of MMA in Pakistan, the godfather of MMA in Pakistan. He was also a guest of our show several times. And indeed, sports do brings in lots of discipline and purpose to life. But let me ask you, why did you choose boxing over other sports? Especially in England, football and cricket has so much craze. So why boxing?
Why boxing? That's a very interesting question, actually. All of my siblings and my cousins have played football mainly. There's a large football scene here in Nottingham, as we have 2 football teams, Nottingham Forest and Notts County. And we also have a very famous cricket ground, Trent Bridge, where a number of quite high-profile matches have been played over the years. So it's not as if I didn't have exposure or experience with these sports. It was just that when I began boxing at around the age 12, it was something that I just couldn't get enough of. You know, I trained 2, 3, 4 times a week. I'd go out to the park and train on my own. I'd ask my coach if I could come to the adult classes. I mean, it was really something that took a hold of me. A few years later, I then started coaching boxing, because my coaches recognized that I was actually quite good at teaching. So that's where my coaching came in. But it's a very, very personal sport. It's very much a sport where you and you alone are responsible for your training. You and you alone are responsible for your performance. And in this way, it is the ultimate, for me, the ultimate form of competition. You know, you stand the other side of a man in the ring, and the bell rings, and that's it. You know, you've got 2 or 3 minutes, and you know, it's you versus him, and it's a real, I think it's a very human aspect. You know, you can look back to history throughout all of the societies in the world. There has been this combat sports, so to speak. And for me, it's just that. It's something deep within me that I express fully when I'm training, when I'm fighting.
I can feel it in your expression. And yes, we have seen England famous all-rounder Freddie Flintoff, one of my personal favorites, become a pro boxer. Even Umer Khan is British, who recently knocked out his opponent in 40 seconds.
I thought it was amazing what Freddie Flintoff did, not only because it was for charity, but also because it's a very brave and difficult thing to do. You know, boxing is a very strange sport because of the aspect of fighting. You know, it takes a certain type of mentality to put yourself in a fight or flight situation and choose to fight. You know, stepping through the ropes, it's very apparent that it's just you and it's just the other man on the other side. And for me, seeing Freddie do that was awesome. I mean, he's a brilliant character anyway. And a great ambassador for sport in general. Umer Khan as well. I mean, wow, what a comeback. You know, he had some difficult periods in his personal life, and he had some very, very difficult fights. Some fights that some people didn't think that he probably should have taken. But, you know, he's back now, and again, he's another very positive role model, despite the issues within his personal life. Some exceptionally good things coming out of there. I know he has Umer Khan Academies here, and I know that he does have an involvement here in Pakistan, which, you know, it's very good to see him recognizing his heritage and recognizing that, you know, he has a platform as a sportsman. And I think that sportsmen and women, you know, have a responsibility with the platform that they then earn to try and better the world. That's just my opinion. I feel it's everyone's responsibility. And, you know, if you get some TV time and you get to a place where people listen to you because of the sport that you do and that your achievements in sports, then you've got to use that to make the world a better place. You have to.
So as you said, you realized that you are good at teaching. So what is your current routine, and how are you training the kids? Share your weekly schedule if you can.
So I coach here 3 times a week over at Shaheen Academy, and I really enjoy it. I coach for about an hour and a half, and then I go and do some adult classes as well. But like I say, it's very different working with young people in England and working with the young people I do here in Pakistan. Now, some of the children that I used to work with in England, you know, they were there for the fun. They were there to have fun and to, you know, mess around and have a laugh. Whereas here, the children are very hard-working, you know, exceptionally hard-working. They really, you can see it on their faces, the way in which they listen to the things that I'm telling to, the way in which they really try their hardest in order to improve. It's really impressive, I have to say. I do think that in the future, in the next kind of 10 to 15 years, you are going to see some exceptionally good fighters come out of this country. Exceptionally good. There's something about the difficult lives that they live which builds very strong characters. And it's really awesome to see. So, like I say, for me, because of that, I actually like to loosen up a little bit and to make it a little bit more fun for the children, because I know that they're going to work hard when I ask them to. So we like to play a lot of games, and they think it's hilarious, me speaking to them in Urdu or Punjabi, and they try to teach me as well. It's a really special thing for me, and it's something I feel very blessed to be a part of.
Inshallah, we surely will. And yes, you talked about the hunger and tough life that most Pakistanis have. They rise above from all of it. And let me tell you, there was a boxer called Hussein Shah, who is till date the only Olympic medalist in individual sports for Pakistan. It was Seoul where he won the bronze medal for Pakistan, and there was also a movie made on his life. And what I respect most about Hussein Shah is that his love and his passion for the country is so much that he moved to Japan for the coaching. He became a coach over there, but he raised his son to become a boxer, and he represents Pakistan. He recently represented Pakistan in Asian Games, though he was unable to win a medal, but the passion is there. And I would also like to ask you that growing up, who was your mentor? Was it Muhammad Ali or the fierce Mike Tyson or anyone else? And what would you like to say about the Rocky movie series, since it was based on boxing, and it was my personal favorite as well?
Yes, I actually learnt about Hussein Shah yesterday. Actually, someone told me about him. I told him I was a boxing coach, and he said, what do you know of Hussein Shah? And he told me he'd won in the was it the 1998, I think it was, Olympics. So, you know, being an Olympian within your sport is a huge accolade. It's the pinnacle for a lot of sportsmen and women. And yeah, what an achievement for him. And what a proud moment for, you know, not himself, but for the nation as well. Growing up, it was, I have to say, the first boxer that I heard about really was Mike Tyson. And it was during his fight with Evander Holyfield, the infamous fight where he, you know, took a big chunk out of his ear, bit into his ear. And, you know, actually, as I grew older, I realized that Mike Tyson was going through some very difficult times there, and he had a very troubled past, certainly through losing his coach. You know, his coach, Cus D'Amato, was basically his father, effectively, and when he passed, it was a very difficult time for Mike. But I have to say, Muhammad Ali. You know, I've got a T-shirt that I wear around. It says Muhammad Ali on the back. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And one, this gets a lot of attention here in Pakistan. But two, you know, for me, it was him, because not only his style in the ring was almost unheard of. He had a lot of fun in the ring. He had a real personality there. But also, a lot of the things that he said and a lot of the things that he shared, his period of history was very troubled for his people in America at that time. There was the Vietnam War and all manner of things that really was much wider than boxing. And I spoke earlier about, you know, sportsmen and women having platforms, and he was certainly somebody who used his platform. And, you know, it's not just about that as well. For me, it's about the things that he stood for. You know, he was involved with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and the kind of civil rights movement within America at that time. Unbelievable. And it's funny that you should speak about the Rocky movies, because actually Sylvester Stallone was in the audience for one of Muhammad Ali's fights against a man called Chuck Wepner, who's a Canadian fighter, I believe. And actually, he was the inspiration for the character of Rocky. So, yeah, I don't know if you know that or not, but yes, to be perfectly honest, my other favorite fighter as well had to be Prince Naseem Ahmed, again, another British Pakistani gentleman. Now, he was something else, exceptionally extravagant. He, you know, was very loud, audacious. He'd do acrobatics to get into the ring. He'd dance his way to the ring, you know. And when in the ring, he did all manner of things, which, as a coach, I would say are wrong. You know, he broke a lot of rules. But somehow, through his talent, he got away with it. And, you know, he was a real formidable force for a number of years, exceptional, and that was another inspiration for me. And he fought out of Brendan Ingles' gym in Sheffield in England, and this is a gym that I've got a lot of respect for. A lot of my favourite fighters, Kell Brook, have come from that gym. And again, it's another place, like all the boxing gyms across the world. You know, if you listen to interviews with Brenda Ingle and Brian Ingle, the coaches there, you know, they're all about taking young people off the streets, people with disadvantaged or underprivileged children, and really giving them something to work for, some hope within their life. So, yeah, it's really inspirational, boxing, I have to say. I keep going on about the benefits that it has on society and for young people, and I hope you don't get bored. But honestly, it truly is the real essence of boxing, is what it can do for you and your soul.
No, not getting bored at all. In fact, I'm as excited as you are when you talk about the sport. And yes, I know that Muhammad Ali was the inspiration behind Rocky. As a coach, I would like to ask you, heavyweight boxers in the past compared to heavyweight boxers today, where do you rate today's boxers? Keeping in mind, we do have biomechanics now, which helps a lot with technique. We have a better facility for training, the diet, the rehab centers, and the technology has evolved hugely. So, where do you see boxers from the past versus boxers of today?
So, like you say, there's a huge advance in technology, and this has led to a massive development in the application of sports science now. Sometimes it looks like a NASA training facility with lots of these machines, these athletes hooked up to all these machines, whirring away, recording and analyzing data. There's still a lot to say about the old school training methods. I mean, ultimately, yes, the modern day is creating better athletes because their specific attributes have been worked towards with the use of science. So that is one very big difference. You know, a lot of the fighters that of old, you know, were still working day jobs. Some of them smoked and drank as well. So boxing is a professional sport, has grown massively. So that's one huge difference. Secondly, then, the other difference, I think, is the effect that money has had on the sport. And this one can be quite difficult, a difficult pill to swallow for boxing fans, because sometimes it may get in the way of us seeing the fights that we want to see. Boxers these days talk quite openly about being both fighters and businessmen. For example, there's a lot of noise going on at the minute between Anthony Joshua, the British heavyweight champion, and Deontay Wilder, who's the WBC champion, both undefeated, both with massive KO knockout ratios. And it's a fight that we all want to see, but because of the huge potential revenue, it may take some time. The negotiations may take some time in order for us to see that fight. So I find it so difficult to say, because for me, a fighter is worth more than the sum of his parts. And that's to say, there's something inexplicable or unwritten about what makes a great fighter great. You know, you must have heart and desire and will, and sometimes these carry you past the limits of your skill. But then other times, no amount of heart or will or desire can actually see you overcome an opponent with a much greater talent. So it's very difficult to say. I would say, though, it's been very interesting to see some modern fighters square up against some fighters of the past. Roy Jones Jr., for example, was notorious for being an exceptional talent in a time where there weren't too many others of his level. And a lot of people nowadays, I think that the older fighters, the old-timers, would, you know, clear up, would beat all of the modern fighters. But I think that's a bit of a disservice to today's guys. I think that, you know, the sport is what it is in the day that it is. So, you know, we should look forward. Thankfully, the heavyweight division is now much more exciting. And I just can't wait to see the future.
We've talked about the potential you see in the Pakistani kids. We have talked about your academy. I want to know, what are your plans ahead and what is that you want to achieve in the years to come?
What I want to achieve personally is I want to help raise funds. I want to be able to know that when I return back to England in July, that I have done something to ensure that these children can continue to visit and have a place for them at Shaheen. I really think it's a real positive thing for them to have within the community, and I'd love to see that to be open. So in the short term, it's about fundraising. We've got a GoFundMe page, and I'll be looking to do 1 or 2 events here in Lahore in the next coming months, in order to, like I say, secure funds so that this can continue into the future. In terms of the wider future, you know, there are more and more Pakistani fighters going over to the ONE FC Championship in Asia, which is kind of Asia's largest promotion for mixed martial arts. And I'd love to see Pakistanis from there. Really what I would like to see is just, again, the development of the sport that I love, which is boxing and mixed martial arts.
Alright, how much funds do you need and what are the requirements you need to fulfill your basic necessities for the academy?
So we're looking for around 10,000 US dollars, and that means that Shaheen can be kept open, rent can be paid, electricity, the coaches' salaries, and then also it also pays for education for 1 or 2 children as well, and of course just for the general upkeep of the gym.
That's like $1 million Pakistani rupees, which is like 1 month's salary of a professional cricketer. I would like to appeal all the sponsors and private organizations who are hearing me right now to come forward and support Shaheen Academy and the cause that you guys are working for, because I think it's a beautiful concept that you took a step forward and you're training the underprivileged kids. And let me tell you, I work for a few kids as well, and I went there here in Liari, Karachi, and I saw kids. They were lifting stones and they were child labor and working just to buy a one-time bread for the family. And when I asked them what the requirement is, so they said that all we need is a pair of shorts and gloves. That is like 5 pounds for you, and like $8 for the US, and it's very cheap, like within 1,000 rupees of Pakistani rupees, we can get them a new pair of gloves and a short. That's what their basic necessity is. So I just want to appeal to all the sponsors and private organizations. We invest so much in cricket, the government, we invest so much in cricket. I think it's about time we have to look up to other sports as well. So this is my humble request. Plus I would just like to ask you, what part can I personally play and my Hot FM 105 team could play for you?
Absolutely. So the first and most straightforward way in which you can help is visiting www.gofundme.com/Shaheen Kids. On there's a bit more information about the history and about some of the kids who go there and where the money goes as well. Other than that, I would just say try and spread the message, okay? If you visit Facebook, if you look at Synergy MMA Academy, this is the gym which is linked with Shaheen, and yeah, just get in touch and spread the word. Basically, that would be incredible.
Right now, hundreds and thousands of people are hearing you live. What would you like to say to them?
My message is simple, really. It's one of solidarity, one of humanity, one of compassion. I just want people to understand that there is more good in this world than there is bad. And by working together, we can actually make a real difference.
And is there anything that you would like to say about my program and, of course, our beloved Hot FM 105 network?
So I would say if you haven't checked out Umer's website or his Facebook page, then do so, because there's some really interesting, exciting content on there. Also, I'd like to say thank you. It's been a real pleasure being on your show, being heard by thousands of people across the country. I truly love this country. It's an incredible country, and it's made by the people who are within it. And you, Umer, are just testament to that. You know, it's brilliant. That's all. It's absolutely, it's bahut acha.
You're most welcome, and we will stay in touch in future as well, inshallah. I wish you all the best for everything you plan to do ahead. And yes, since I'm a big fan of your Urdu, before we go, I want you to say a few words for our listeners in Urdu.
Oh, you put me on the spot there. Nahi malum hai. The most used phrase that I use here is probably "main boxer hoon" or "main boxer ustad hoon," and also "mujar Pakistan pasanda." That's my favorite phrase. I find myself telling that to people all over when they ask me about Pakistan.
Love you, man. I would really wish that you come to Karachi and be my guest. Let it be for a day, but would definitely love to meet you in person soon, inshallah. Thank you so much, and me and my platform of Hot FM 105 will always be there to support you and your cause. And once again, thank you.
Jazakallah, mera dost. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz. And absolutely, if I'm ever in Karachi, I know exactly where to go.
Definitely. And guys, आपने सुना टिमोथी बेट्स, जो कि एक बॉक्सर हैं, ब्रिटिश हैं, और लाहौर में एक एकेडमी में हमारे पाकिस्तानी बच्चों को ट्रेन कर रहे हैं. सुना आपने किस तरह से वो पाकिस्तानी बच्चों को पढ़ाना चाहते हैं, उनके लिए प्लेटफॉर्म बनाना चाहते हैं, और कितना उनका पाकिस्तान में खुशगवार वक्त गुजरा, और अब तो उन्होंने उर्दू भी सीख ली, जो हमने चंद अल्फाज सुने. तो कंटिन्यू करते हैं प्रोग्राम को, बट फ़िलहाल चलते हैं एक ब्रेक की जानिब. वापस आएंगे तो बातों करेंगे. कंटिन्यू, डोंट गो एनीवेयर एंड स्टे ट्यून्ड.